Gonna do a video on the full moon in Capricorn. But first, we're gonna get into it with this song called Third Person. It's off my Origins album, and yeah, let's get into it. Conscious in pursuit of precedent, speaking dollars, that's my precedence. Elevated, overthrow the president, flowing better than it's ever been. A young Anglo-American, golly, how we swiftly mix the recipe into sativa leaf. High vibe, zone and found myself. AU with the vision, heaven, elemental, periodic verse, hidden inside 47. You'll be astonished, chronic ubidotis, smoking out my lungs. Pack a punch, that sour weed, make my eyes bleed. Broken vision, picture like my elemental malice. Mary Patrick, child scream, make my chakras balance. Truly want a lady, but I'm blessed. Truly wanna thank ya. Truly wanna thank ya to my creator. Lamakati, love renaissance to the fullest. It's all love from up above. Switching lanes, gripping on the wheel again to the fifth dimension. Face a whole 7 in a sit-in. Indian style, do. Crippin' blood united too. But don't pass, trump the blunt, fool. Shout to this a killing concert. Inspire me to drop the bomb first. On these bitch made elitists, ain't they go the truly golden leaders. But it's gangland, so grab your heater. Cold as a mask, we all kingdom to these martial law pursuers. Another dead by police or interracial beef. Ground in the melting pot, divide and conquer. How they plan to feast. So yeah, like I say, that's called Third Person off the Origins album. And we're going to get right into it. With the full moon in Capricorn, it's either you're fully satisfied or unsatisfied in one's status, career, or business. So essentially, with all this being said, it's like, is your money straight? Is what you're actually working on in the long term of things? Capricorn being a Saturnian sign at this point in time as well. With this being said, keep in mind that we're finishing up the Cancer season, right? So essentially, you're fully satisfied or unsatisfied in your career or business, and based on that vibration of the career or business is essentially what you're working with at this point in time. So do you see yourself having a fully satisfied circumstance in your money, in your career, in your business? Like, is your business flourishing? Is your status something that you actually want to keep up, so to speak? And is it something that you could see yourself fulfilling within the next 6 months and during the Capricorn sun, utilizing and things like that? That's what you want to have your mind on at this point in time. And also keep in mind that it's like your business. So if you're not able to associate with others and utilize this business to actually accumulate more and things like that, that's kind of what you want to keep your mind on. And you don't want to over tip the cup, because keep in mind that once we actually hit this 29th degree of Capricorn, it'll be that fully accumulated moon. So we have like the next day or two, because the 21st is when the actual degree hits the 29th degree. We'll have 29 degrees in Cancer. And keep in mind, this is the second full moon of this Cancer season, which is in Capricorn as well. So based on this circumstance situation that you were in a month ago, whenever we had that first full moon in Capricorn at the beginning of Cancer season, you can see the difference between that self that you were in, or that character that you were utilizing, or that business model that you were utilizing at that point in time, and has it expanded? And do you see yourself now having new accumulations and new circumstances, situations that you can actually now be satisfied? So essentially, it's you're fully satisfied or unsatisfied with your career, status, or business. And keep in mind, I'm going to go ahead and break down all the rising signs, but I'm going to utilize my template a little bit different. So for the first couple minutes, like I'm doing now, I'm just going to describe this Capricorn energy. Capricorn, like I say, is ruled by Saturn. So Saturn being the building sign, or the planet of building or restriction. So essentially, have you restricted yourself to a circumstance, situation that you can now see yourself actually building on that restriction and stay on that? So with all this being said, like, are you utilizing this moon as a stepping stone for the next 6 months and something you could actually take into the wintertime? Like, have you accumulated the right things in the summertime that you can actually continue to work on throughout this fall season and things like that? And then whenever we have the Capricorn sun, is it a circumstance, situation that you can see yourself utilizing as well over time? So do you see yourself in this business for the next couple of years? Or do you see yourself in this status for the next couple of years and things like that? So for me personally, I just had this conversation just recently. With all this being said, we always gonna have a sun and a moon. So keep in mind, if we don't have the sun anymore, then this circumstance situation isn't actually going to be a regular thing. No, this is actually like a shirt that's from Indonesia and things like that. Shout out to my Indonesian homies and things like that. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? I know you trolling anyway, Goon Squad. You just said you kind of asking a weird question with that being said. But yeah, with all this being said, like I say, are you satisfied with your business or unsatisfied with your business? That kind of threw me off. I'm not even going front. But yeah, getting back to the point, do you, like I say, I just had this conversation recently. Like, for example, I could see myself doing astrology for the rest of my life because based on us always having a sun and moon, even if this society falls and things like that, or even if all governmental agencies and things like that don't actually continue to work and things like that, we're still gonna have a sun in the sky. We're gonna still have a moon in the night sky, so to speak. So, with all this being said, astrologers are always gonna be in business, even if there's no more hospitals. You know what I'm saying? You might lose your nursing job and things like that, being working in the hospital, but you can still do astrology. So keep that in mind. Even if you like they stop building things and this, like I say, the society fall and there's no more funding to be a carpenter and things like that, at the end of the day you can still utilize the sun transit and see how the seasons are going to accumulate for oneself, and you could actually utilize that to then be a beneficial source for others and things of that nature. So keep in mind, like I say, if you choose an astrology as your template or your business and things like that, then over time, essentially, no matter what you're working with and things like that, it's going to benefit you. So keep in mind, if you know all the planets and you know all the planet meanings and things like that, and you can actually explain them properly, and you can give someone a proper template that they could also learn from and also teach others, then this is a beneficial circumstance. This is something you could do for the rest of your life as well. So, like, for example, astrology is a business that's never going to go out of business, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So it's a perfect thing. With this being said, keep in mind, talking about Saturn, you know what I'm saying? Saturn stays in each sign for a longer period of time than just the sun. So, you know what I'm saying? You having this knowledge, wisdom, and awareness that you're actually utilizing over time is actually beneficial. And that's essentially what we want to keep our mind on whenever we're dealing with Saturn. So, like, with this being said, we have Saturn in Pisces, for example. And with this Saturn in Pisces, it's essentially the restriction of a dream, illusion, or nightmare. And you want to actually be in this circumstance that you could have your dream be built on and things like that. You can build on your dream and actually then make that your status, and you have a beneficial status of that dream and a building block that you can build on and things like that. So moving forward, I'm going to go ahead and break down each rising sign, and we're starting with Capricorn because Capricorn has the full moon in their first house. So essentially, being the Capricorn rising, you're either fully satisfied in your personal business or your individual status, so to speak, or you're unsatisfied in your personal or individual status. So essentially, with this being said, is your personality or is your first impression something that you can build on, and do you feel comfortable building on the way that you're coming off to people in that first impression and things like that? I'm saying I'm gonna go ahead and respond to this dude because this is a pretty stupid question. Why do we need the planet? This is what I'm saying. Keep in mind that, you know what I'm saying, if we didn't have the sun, we wouldn't be able to see. You know what I'm saying? So if you didn't have the sunlight, number one wouldn't be able to see, and you wouldn't be able to move forward or even utilize anything else in this realm of reality. And keep in mind, if we didn't have any sunlight and things like that, things wouldn't benefit nobody, and you wouldn't be able to, like I say, see, or you wouldn't be able to work or actually have your telescopes and things like that, and all that wouldn't benefit you. You know what I'm saying? So like all other things come from, you know what I'm saying, the sun transit. So keep that in mind. So yeah, getting back to the point, like I was saying, Capricorn in the first house is, like I say, either fully satisfied in your personal business or unsatisfied in your personal business and things like that, or your first impression and things like that. And moving forward, the Sagittarius rising, or Sagittarius first house, however you want to break it down, is having the Capricorn full moon in the second house. So the second house is all about your value system of a person, place, thing, or idea. So essentially, are you satisfied and with the people around, or the status that you have around these individuals, or the places that you're in? Is this a status that you can benefit from and things of that nature? Or do you feel satisfied being around these individuals or in these places and things like that? Or you're either unsatisfied, and like I say, if you want to find a way to rectify this over the next 2 weeks, you want to be in a circumstance situation of seeing, okay, what are these people and places and things that I'm around that is actually not beneficial? Do I actually not gain value from them and things of that nature? And you essentially want to find what to shed over these next 2 weeks. So essentially, the full moon occurs, right? And then we see, okay, we're either fully satisfied or unsatisfied, and whatever we're unsatisfied in, we then need to shed over the next 2 weeks, and that's essentially what the waning phase is all about. And we have this waxing phase whenever we have the new moon, and whenever the full moon occurs, then in turn we have the shedding phase, which is the waning moon, right? So keep this in mind. You, like I say, you either satisfied or unsatisfied with your values of a person, place, thing, or idea. And then over these next 2 weeks, you're going to see, okay, what do I actually need to shed to find myself in a more satisfied space? Then Scorpio rising is having the third house being in Capricorn, and the third house is all about your environment or your communication. So essentially, what you're communicating about, the status of that, or the status that it creates based on you having this communication and things like that. And with all this being said, keep in mind that Scorpio is also a sextile to the Capricorn energy. And the sextile, pardon me, is a 60-degree angle, which is seeing the opportunity. So essentially, the Capricorn and the Scorpio sees the opportunities in turn with each other. So with this being said, you're either satisfied in your communication styles or satisfied or unsatisfied in your communication styles or your environment and these people, places, and things that you're around. And keep in mind, the environment could be like your neighborhood, or if you're in an apartment complex, like your next door neighbor and things like that. So essentially, if you're satisfied with this environment that you're in, then boom, you're in the higher octave of this Capricorn energy. Or if you're in the lower octave, you need to see, okay, what are actual individuals or places that I need to be in, which environment wise, to then benefit oneself and things of that nature. So maybe you need to see a different neighborhood or be in a different circumstance situation whenever you're going outside in the places that you visit quite often and things like that. It could also be who you communicate with. Maybe you need to shed communication and things like that with certain individuals, and that could put you on the higher octave over these next 2 weeks. But yeah, moving forward, the Libra rising is having the fourth house being in Capricorn, and keep in mind, Libra and Capricorn is a square because they're both cardinal signs, and essentially, cardinal signs initiate and create. So the Libra is going to have to see, have they initiated and created the proper circumstance situations in their home and home life, or their private circumstances, or things close to their heart, and essentially, are they satisfied with that status? So essentially, are you satisfied interacting in your home? Are you satisfied with the status of your home and things like that, and where you live, so to speak, or the things close to your heart? And keep in mind, over these next 2 weeks, like I say, if you find yourself in that lower octave, you then need to shed these certain aspects of your heart and kind of grow more cold to certain individuals, or be in a circumstance situation that, okay, these people aren't actually benefiting my heart. Like, I don't feel truly comfortable around these individuals and comfortable having my status be associated with them and things like that. So then you in turn need to find what to actually shed to find yourself in a more beneficial circumstance. And you know what I'm saying, this doesn't mean like you have to completely move to a whole new different home if you've already bought a home, for example. This means like you need to maybe rearrange things in your home and make yourself more comfortable, so to speak, and see what is like making you uncomfortable and things like that, or who is making you uncomfortable, and who to actually be in a more confiding space with, and who not to, and things like that. But yeah, moving forward, the Virgo rising is having the fifth house being in Capricorn, and essentially you're either satisfied or unsatisfied in your expression of the current career that you're in and things like that. Or you feel satisfied expressing yourself in that career, or you feel unsatisfied expressing yourself in that career and things like that. So essentially, for the Virgo rising, the Virgo is going to have the gift, which is the trine and things like that, 120-degree angle. So the Virgo is going to have the gift to see, is this actual expression something that I can continue on over the next, you know, saying 10, 15 years and things like that, or even the next year, so to speak, and is it actually something I can benefit from and things of that nature? And do I feel comfortable expressing myself in this manner over the next, you know, saying at least 6 months, you know, saying, because the Capricorn energy will come up in 6 months from the Cancer season and things like that. So like I say, you're either on the higher octave with your expression and you feel comfortable expressing your aspects of this career that you're working with, or you feel uncomfortable expressing yourself in this career and things like that, being that Virgo rising. Then moving forward, the Leo rising is either satisfied or unsatisfied in your work, career, or status, and things like that. So essentially, what you're working on, do you feel comfortable expressing yourself in that? And do you feel comfortable in this routine and pattern of going to this job? Or essentially, like I'm saying, I find myself in a circumstance situation that I'm on the higher octave based on me being an astrologer and things like that, because I know this is a long-term business, a business that's always going to be in business and things like that. So essentially, I'm satisfied in my work and my career and things like that. Being on YouTube, you know what I'm saying, tapping in with y'all and things of that nature. It benefits me and things like that. Being that Leo rising, put myself on the stage, so to speak, to, you know what I'm saying, so you have an example. But like I say, for example, if you're in a work circumstance that you don't actually see yourself benefiting from this circumstance situation, then maybe you need to find a new job or things like that, or find a new thing to work on to actually find satisfaction in that and things of that nature, being that Leo rising. And this may be, pardon me, this is a misunderstanding for the Leo as well. It's a 150-degree angle. So with this circumstance situation being that Leo rising with the Capricorn full moon, you're in a circumstance that it's either you're comfortable or uncomfortable, like I say, or unsatisfied or satisfied. So like I say, you may misunderstand being that Leo rising and being that fixed energy, that you actually need to initiate and create a new logistical and practical way about going about things and going about being comfortable and things like that. You might not want to be so stubborn at this point in time. You want to see what can I actually work on to benefit oneself. Moving forward, the Cancer rising is having the seventh house being in Capricorn, and the seventh house being in Capricorn is either satisfied in your relations or your relationships, or the status of your relationship, or unsatisfied in the status of your relations or relationships. So, with this being said, either you need to break apart from somebody being on the lower octave, or you feel very comfortable in your relationship and who you're with and things like that, and who you relate with on a daily basis and things like that. And you can see yourself building on that if you're on the higher octave. Or you don't see yourself building on that in the lower octave, you need to essentially see what is the circumstance that you need to shed, or who do you need to shed from your life to actually make yourself feel more comfortable relating, or who are you relating with. So moving forward, the Gemini rising is having the eighth house being in Capricorn, and the eighth house is all about rebirth, transformation, secrets, and things like that. So essentially, do you feel comfortable in how you've transformed oneself? Or do you feel comfortable in this career that you've had a rebirth in, so to speak? And with this being said, are you, and as well, behind the scenes, like, are you satisfied behind the scenes in this status that you're working with and things like that? Or do you feel unsatisfied in the status of behind the scenes? So like where nobody else sees you and things like that, and whenever it's behind closed doors, are you actually comfortable in what you're doing, so to speak? Then moving forward, the Taurus rising is having the ninth house being in Capricorn, and the ninth house is all about knowledge, wisdom, and experience, and also morality. So essentially, are you satisfied in your experiences, or what you benefits you in the actual experience that you're in, and can you see yourself building on this experience, so to speak? In the status of this experience, can you see yourself having a career in it and things like that? And if you're on that lower octave, you need to essentially find a new experience to work with to then have a more beneficial status about that and things like that. I just real Silas just stopped you know what I'm saying, dude in the chat say and things like that. Yeah, I do happen to repeat a couple things like that, you know what I'm saying? And with that being said, and those are called transitional words or transitional phrases, because you don't want to just say and or but at all points in time, being the on the internet and things like that, or being a speaker. You don't want to actually be in a circumstance situation where you always utilizing the same words. You want to find transitional phrases that are like you're utilizing instead of using like the or and things like that. You want to, like I say, utilize these transitional phrases. It's kind of funny, you know what I'm saying? Y'all notice that being viewers, but whenever you up here actually on the stage doing your thing, it's kind of like an unconscious thing. Just for a little excerpt, you know what I'm saying, and a little tangent, if you happen to be on the YouTube and things like that and happen to start going live. Moving forward, the Aries rising is having the the 10th house being in Capricorn, and the 10th house is all about your status, blueprint, and career. So essentially, being this Aries, are you actually satisfied in your career? Are you satisfied in the business that you're working with? And if you're unsatisfied, you need to be in a circumstance that you actually can shed this career and see something that you actually want to work in the long term, so to speak. Pretty much simple as that. being the Aries rising. And the Aries, keep in mind, is also a square, just like the Libra, right? The Libra and the Aries both square the Capricorn. So essentially, the Aries in a space where they need to learn to be more satisfied in their career and things of that nature. The Pisces rising is then having the 11th house being in Capricorn, and the 11th house is all about your public persona or your associates in the association. So essentially, are you satisfied with these associates that you're around? Are you satisfied with this public persona that you're working with? Being the Pisces rising. And the Pisces rising, like I say, is, well, not like I say, but essentially it's a leg to the Sagittarius, the Scorpio rising. And they're seeing the sextile. So they're essentially, the Pisces is seeing the opportunity in satisfaction within their associates or associations. So essentially, do you feel satisfied being around the individuals that you're on, like known for being around and things like that? Or are you in a circumstance situation that is non-beneficial and the public persona or the people that you're around are actually not benefiting you? You don't see yourself being around them for the long term. So essentially, you need to see what associates you need to shed from being on that lower octave, or if you're on that higher octave, you feel comfortable with your association. And last but not least, the Aquarius rising is having the 12th house being in Capricorn. So the 12th house is all about your dreams, illusions, and nightmares. So essentially, are you satisfied with this dream, and can you see yourself building on the dream that you're working with and things of that nature? Being the Aquarius rising, and pretty much to get into it, being the 12th house is pretty simple. It's like you want to dream big, and does this dream seem almost unaccomplishable? I don't know if that's a word, but if you can accomplish your dream and you see it within reach, then okay, that's a beneficial thing, but you essentially want to dream big whenever you're working with the 12th house. And this is a dream that you could say, wow, like if I achieve this, I don't know what else I would do after that. Or is this a dream that's almost unachievable? This is something that you actually want to be more satisfied with dreaming about. So if you can't dream big or you have no ability to dream, this is a non-beneficial circumstance and you are on the lower octave. So with this being said, you want to see yourself dreaming about things that are almost like unfathomable and things of that nature. So that's pretty much what I like to get with, you know what I'm saying, in the 12th house. You know what I'm saying, you want to be in a circumstance that these individuals that you're around, they're dreaming as well. So like you keep people around you that actually dream, and they can dream big too. So essentially they have big dreams, and those big dreams are going to build on your big dreams. And with this being said, essentially when everybody achieves their dream, then it's like teamwork make the dream work. And one person's dream works with another person's dream. It's like puzzle pieces. And that makes me think about the Jupiter and Gemini. It's like that puzzle piece that you're finding that actually fits. And then with all this being said, keep in mind that we also have Mars entering Gemini, right? So it's going to kind of speed up our intentions and things like that, going left field of the Capricorn full moon, but it's also on the same topic of astrology and things like that. So this Mars in Gemini is going to be speeding up our passions and our intentions and things of that nature. We're going to have fast communication styles or passionate communication at this point in time with the Mars and Gemini. And I'm going to get into that at a later date and things of that nature, and go ahead and dedicate a whole video to the Mars and Gemini whenever I get the chance and things like that. So yeah, much love and holla back. Peace and love if you believe in all that. You go ahead and hit me in the Cash App. You want to support the movement you want to be in tune with. Or go ahead and also email me if you had any kind of questions, or you're looking to get an astrology reading and things like that. And much love, peace, and love if you believe in all that.